Welcome to it, sports fans. It is the MKT Show, 16th of February in the year 2021. Hey, today we're going to talk about the Arsenal. Something came out about their captain, and I've said this before, and I genuinely believe what I'll say tonight. I think they've got a decision to make, and I'm looking forward to seeing which way they go. So we'll talk about the Arsenal. Aubameyang again in the news again for something I don't love. We'll talk about that, and then South African rugby. The landscape's changing. Siya Kolisi's just moved. Tell you what I think about that decision and why I think it's a good thing long term for rugby as a whole. Cliff Central Sport on all social media platforms. Otherwise, I'm MKT Inspires on all social media platforms. Let's get into it. Champions League night tonight. I don't even know when those things are happening. Probably 10 o'clock kickoff in South Africa. Not sure where you are in the world, but I hope you enjoy. All right, let's get into it. The Arsenal. Not sure if you saw it today. Aubameyang tattoo lockdown images coming out. You know, so many contrasting stories. But I want to start here with this one. Is that, you know, I've said it. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times, and I probably sound like a broken record. I mean, it's not from my mouth. It is from the lips of Maya Angelou. And a gospel of my father's is when people show you who they are, believe them the first time, right? I mean, the real saying is when people show you who they are, believe them. But my old man used to say is when people show him who they are, he believes them the first time. Slightly reworked version of that great saying. All right, listen. You know, when you go out, I guess we all do this with our friends, right? Is I've gone out to what we call braais, barbecues, no matter where you are around the world, and you see somebody and they're good looking and you hear they've got a job and you hear, you know, and then you wonder like, oh, why are they single? And these are people that want to be in a relationship. You're always like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Look at her, look at him. Look how well put together they are. They have a successful job. They're desperately looking to be in a relationship. Right? Well, how come nobody wants to be with them? Listen, that's a character issue, right? It's called a character issue. I don't care how good looking and rich you are. Once enough people have seen you, what you are behind closed doors, it ain't happening. That's a character issue. And let me tell you something, right? The problem with Aubameyang, and why has nobody thought this was weird? I've never understood that the purchase of Aubameyang at Arsenal, for me, is one of the strangest things that's ever happened in football. It is one of the strangest purchases I've ever seen in football. Let me tell you what. Is at the time, he was the top goal scorer in the Bundesliga. He was probably the hottest property in European football, right? And Real Madrid didn't come for the bid. Chelsea didn't come in bid. Barcelona didn't come in bid. Bayern Munich, there was not even a whiff from Bayern Munich. And you know what Bayern Munich do? If you're half decent to you in the Bundesliga, they will buy you. Upamecano, £50 million from Leipzig, come over here. Hummels, come over here. Any German talent, Götze, come over here. They will buy you. Right? Bayern Munich have an absolute pick of the lot. Never once did they go in for Aubameyang. That was before Lewandowski was Lewandowski. Because Lever was doing it at Dortmund, and it was bubbling at Bayern Munich with him when Oba was at Dortmund. Why did nobody ever think it was strange that Arsenal were the only team that could get him? It wasn't a fee thing. It was £70 million. It's nothing. Philippe Coutinho went for like 160. It's nothing in football terms. It's very strange to me. It was strange to me at the time. It's becoming more and more clear to me why it was so strange. Why didn't Barcelona go in? Why didn't Chelsea go in? Folks, I know football. I was in that world. People talk. This is why nobody went to go and buy Aubameyang. Because at the beginning of the season, what was it? The sulking, Arteta, it's not working out. I've always said, if you're the captain of anything, if you're the CEO, which is what the captain of a football club is, by the way, you can't expect to be treated the same as the other players. Your job is to toe the company line. The captain must always toe the company line. Always. I don't want to hear the excuses. When Arsenal came and paid him £200,000 a week, toe the company line. It's over now. You're not the cool guy in the dressing room. You're not the guy we have to like. You're not the guy who's going to get on with everyone. I'd actually like you to probably bring the Instagram stuff down. And I know young people are always on about, oh, just let people be themselves. I agree. Let people be themselves. When you're the CEO, though, you don't get to be yourself. Company line, no backward hat. And if I'm Arsenal, no gold cars on, get that off social media. And I know it's the age of, oh, people can express themselves. Leadership can be diverse. Listen, there are core fundamentals to leadership. One of them, don't sulk. You should have picked the Arsenal dressing room over David Luiz and Saliba. You got to pick Arsenal. You got to pick Arteta. And I found that so strange at the beginning of the season. Now we're getting the lockdown tattoo. Not sure if you've seen this article, but there's footage that's come out that he got a tattoo in lockdown. And all of a sudden now Arsenal are trying to circle around him. Is the tattoo artist was in the bubble with them. Do me a favor. There were no bubbles. There were no bubbles, by the way, for football. So I'm not sure what we're talking about there. Folks, in life, you've got to say to yourself sometimes, character, I'm afraid, and take it from somebody who spent his 20s making terrible decisions. Let me tell you what. Let me make it personal so it doesn't sound like I'm being sanctimonious. I don't go out. I don't drink. You probably never run into me anyway. I live in the city of Johannesburg now, which is home. I don't go out. I don't drink. You know why? I got to manage myself. I made some bad decisions. I've proven to myself, you're not great at making decisions. Narrow your decision-making field. Because the problem with that, once you've shown that you can make bad decisions, and people don't like to say this about themselves or others, but folks, once somebody shows you that they can make bad decisions, believe them, that's going to happen. I don't know why Arsenal are sticking with this guy. If I'm Arsenal, I sell him. Because I'll tell you what the problem is now. And this is an interesting thing for me. Yesterday, somebody, I don't know if it was on here or I read it on social media. Somebody said, Arsenal's getting rid of the dead wood. If I'm Arsenal, I'll tell you what I'm worried about. Bukayo Saka sees this kind of behavior, and you pay Aubameyang a bonus next season, and you're probably going to give Aubameyang one more contract. How do you keep a lid on Bukayo Saka and the next generation? Because if you can't affirm bad behavior and then expect that culture not to be built for the next generation. Because all Arsenal fans are telling me is we're trying to get rid of the dead wood. And folks, the mistake that tends to happen with people like Aubameyang, personality. And we live in a time where if we like you, you'll probably be a good guy. I've always said in my leadership, and I will never change this line. In my leadership, I do not want to like my leaders. I do not want to like my leaders because the things you have to do to win in life, and I'm talking, listen, mothers, fathers, you'll understand this better than anybody. You often have to do things that your children hate for them to win. Right? You often have to discipline them. You often have to take things away. You often have to limit the friends they can have. You often have to do these things. And in my leadership, and it starts with parenthood, for me, it goes into business, and I work with great leadership, is that I don't want to like my leaders. I want to have a little drop of something where I go, ugh, I don't like that person. Or there's something when they're around, I'm on edge. I want that in my leader because I know a time is going to have to come when they are going to have to make a decision that's against my best interest, but it is in the best interest of winning. And I don't want to accept that. It's a bitter pill to swallow because it's not good for me. But in leadership, I'm not seeking popularity. And it's obviously, we see it in politics, we see it in whatever. And this is the mistake lots of places make. Roy Keane, not loved. Patrick Vieira, not loved. Ricky Ponting, not loved. Steve Waugh, not loved. John Eales, not universally loved. John Smith, if you're a South African fan, not loved. What do they all do? Graham Smith, not loved. You know why? Because they're not interested in being popular. They're interested in winning. Aubameyang's interested in being cool. The gold cars, the tattoos in lockdown. It's a pandemic. Listen, I don't care what you think of the pandemic. If you're not a doctor, shut the hell up. Right? There's a pandemic on. There is now in the world we live in something called optics. If you're a part of the new generation, as the captain, You have to be held to a higher standard, and not by everybody else, by yourself. Folks, there's a reason Barcelona didn't come in. There's a reason Chelsea didn't come in for this guy. I've always said it was strange. It's a character issue. If I were to tell you some of the things I saw professional footballers doing in the United Kingdom, and some who you admire, by the way, who I know personally, some that people say role models, but they're not the captains. I gave Steven Gerrard no excuses. Lampard, no excuses. No excuses. I don't want to hear it. John Terry, when he did his stuff, faced the music part. And by the way, here's the rule in life. Aubameyang, if he was Diego Maradona, if he was that level talent, we look the other way. Because we live in what we call a production tolerance world. So Aubameyang, for me, Pogba is another one. You had Ravel Morrison. Those are the three that always come to mind. I think they got a guy at Aston Villa who I wouldn't be able to stomach, right? As their captain, Jack Grealish. I'm willing to tolerate talent. Folks, let's just deal in the world we deal in, especially at the elite level. But I will only tolerate your talent when it's also being accompanied by production. It's a production tolerance league. So your production must be more than what I have to tolerate. Now, if Aubameyang had come to Arsenal and fired them into the Champions League 2 seasons in a row, different story. You got me. But I've got to put up with you sulking and picking Saliba's side and David Luiz's side. That's all coming out. I forget the young Frenchman who had to go to Germany. It's come out now that the dressing room was upset. Folks, what should have happened was the dressing room should be upset at Arteta and it should be upset at Aubameyang. Instead, it's Aubameyang and the crew upset at Arsenal. That's madness. Let me tell you something about bad character. Take it from somebody who had it for 10 years. And I'm not saying it's over, by the way, because I'm not trying to be a role model. I want to be real about this thing. I've seen bad decision-making because I did it for a decade. That doesn't change. That doesn't change. Sorry. After 20, if you're still making bad decisions, that's not going to change. Unless you limit your exposure to bad decisions. And bad character's not going anywhere. And if you're Arsenal, I'd be hugely worried. It's another thing now with Aubameyang. It's another thing now. Sorry, folks. I would sell Aubameyang while you got him under contract. I think he just signed the new deal. I believe it was 4 years. He's got 3 years to run on the deal. So you still got the leverage there. You get 50 million from Qatar, China, and you get 45 million from Spain, Italy, or wherever. Because if you can get money for Lukaku, somebody will pay for Aubameyang. Because Lukaku is half the player that this guy is. Sorry, I'm an Inter fan, but you'll get money for Aubameyang. For me, I'm never... Listen, folks, pay production. Don't tell me about Aubameyang's talent. I've seen enough now. And it's hard because he's the smiley, jokey guy. That's Arsenal's captain. Getting a tattoo in lockdown in a pandemic. And then sulking. I can't do it. I can't do it. And this is the beginning of a new era. Because every Arsenal fan is telling me we're starting a new era. Is this the guy to lead the new era? Be honest with yourself. Stop looking at the talent. Aubameyang's not good enough to ignore some of the other stuff. I'm sorry. Leo Messi, Arjen Robben, Thierry Henry. If you're that level talent, I can overlook it. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Are you that level? Sorry. Plus, Aubameyang loves an injury. There's just too much for me. This is too rich for my blood. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm just telling you what I've seen. And I'm telling you because I know what alpha males are like. This guy ain't going to change. It's too late now. Bukayo Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, Odegaard. If you affirm this type of behavior, you give Aubameyang another contract. You told me you want to get rid of the old deadwood to start a new culture. All right. Careful what you wish for because you might just get it. Bad character. You can't solve bad character, folks. It's too late. It's too late. The problem with Aubameyang is you get him at 20 and you squeeze that decision-making out of him. Jack Grealish, it's too late. Paul Pogba, it's too late. It's too late. Folks, there's a reason when you get a puppy, what do? Right? Wheeze inside, you train the puppy and you say, not good. Puppy while it's young. If you want to train a dog when it's 3 or 4, way too late. There's no pulling Aubameyang back now. He's got his money. He's got the acclaim. He's got the Twitter follows. The animal's out the cage now. You had to get him at 20 to get him thinking your way. That's how Fergie won with his kids. It's too late now. I'd sell Aubameyang. And I know Arsenal fans will think that's crazy. Trust me, folks. Arsenal, you're 10th. You can be 10th without Aubameyang. You can be 10th without Aubameyang. And I've said to you, it's going to take you 5 years to get back into the Champions League anyway, because that's not a leader. Aubameyang's very much one of the guys. Folks, wherever you work, be honest. There's a man, there's a woman who, there's something you don't like about them. You know what it is? They're not interested in being popular. They're interested in executing, getting things done, and those people are rare. And in all of us, there's that thing. If somebody executes often, if somebody just gets things done, you always call them, a company man, a company woman. She's such a suck-up. No, what you mean is they get things done. They deliver. They are disciplined. Aubameyang's not that. And if this is Arsenal you want to build, all right. Careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. I'm telling you now. I'm saying it for the last time about Aubameyang because I don't want to pile on. He got a tattoo in lockdown. I mean, these guys. Jadon Sancho, same thing. I'm off. Listen, I'm saying it for the last time. Sell the guy now. £50 million, you'll get it from China. No recovery from bad character. All right. Let's read some comments. Jesse Randolph says, Aubameyang forced himself out of Dortmund to come to Arsenal. He didn't go to training, etc. Aubameyang could have left the trophies. He chose to stay. Listen, again, and that's true. He did force his way out of Dortmund. It's probably a thing, by the way. They don't pay in Germany. Again, who does this? Who's forcing their way out of clubs? Who's doing this? If he's a top talent, right? Again, if he was real top talent and there wasn't some stuff behind it, because I know people in football talk. Name one player who's had to force their way, who's top shelf. Aubameyang was top shelf. He was top goal scorer in the Bundesliga in a team that was probably fourth best. Second, third, fourth best, in and around there. Every club would be begging for that. No top talent forces their way out of anywhere because they got suitors. So again, by the way, there's a way to leave. There's no nice way to break up, but there is a way to leave. Force his way out. Do I think he regrets it? I mean, again, you know, you have to say the character thing. Let's talk about the character thing again. Why would you leave a Champions League club for Arsenal? And I'm not being insulting to Arsenal. And if you are triggered by that, sorry, Arsenal. You're not a Champions League club. Why would he leave Dortmund where it's basically guaranteed that you're playing Champions League for Arsenal? Again, that lets me think, what is going on in this guy? Because that's a bad decision. In every way. Nobody's going to convince me in the last 15 years that Arsenal are a bigger club than Dortmund. Like, you can't convince me of that. So who's advising this guy? Who's making decisions with him? Do I think he regrets it? I do. I do think he regrets it. Jesse says, so Klopp can't go to his mom's funeral. It's crazy, right? Listen, pandemic rules. You know, I'm not a doctor. Like, whatever. And you know what my thing is? As long as the rules are the same for everybody, you know, just because you're rich shouldn't mean you get around the laws. Is it tragic? Yes. And that's a tough one, right? He just lost his mom. And I've got to say, I'm a mommy's boy. Like, I never want to try and lie about that. I'm not a tough guy. I'm a mommy's boy. It'll be tragic for me if I couldn't go to my mom's funeral. That's awful. That's awful. That is an awful. There is no comment you could make. I can't even imagine the guy's loss. It is crazy. It is crazy. It is unfortunate. But as they say in the USA, the rules be the rules. Jacques Wilson says, they got rid of Giroud. He is the leader for France and Chelsea. Jacques, it's such a great point. You know, Arsenal, isn't it a series of just comedic errors over the last 17 years? You let go of Van Persie. The very next season, he goes to your rivals and he's the top goal scorer in the league and he wins the title for Man United. I mean, Cesc, You let go of Clichy, he goes and joins a dynasty at Man City. Bakary Sagna goes and joins a dynasty at Man City. It's hilarious. Cesc Fabregas, the way Cesc left, Henry left, the way Vieira left to Inter, it was. And by the way, how do you replace Aubameyang or Giroud with Aubameyang? I'm sorry. I know the flash, the goals, the this. Look at Giroud, man. So, Jacques, Aubameyang, he really worries me. He worries me. He does worry me. I'm sorry, folks. Jesse says, Lacazette has been a real disappointment. Giroud was better for Arsenal. I'd agree. I think we now see why nobody was willing to buy Lacazette at Lyon. Everybody did their diligence and they went, ugh. There's something missing with Lacazette. Good guy, good hustle. I like him. Professional, never sulked. He's not top shelf. He's probably 2 down. He's probably in that Lukaku shelf, I would say. I don't think he's a top gear guy. Jacques Wilson says, yeah, he's our informed striker. Okay, we're talking about Giroud. Listen, I take Giroud over anything Arsenal's got. Don't give me the goals with Aubameyang. That's all I get. Aubameyang, I've now seen why they don't play one up front. He can't hold the ball up. Folks, if I wanted just goals, you know what I'd do? I'd get Danny Ings. Danny Ings is just as good a finisher as Aubameyang. You're not gonna tell me differently. Look at the goals. Go look at the last 2 seasons. Danny Ings is just as good a finisher as Aubameyang, but it's not enough. And there's a reason why Aubameyang is at Arsenal and not at Chelsea and not at Man City and not at that level. Because at that level, it needs a little bit more. It needs a little bit more than just I'm going to finish. Right? Ollie Watkins. I can get Ollie Watkins to finish. It's not enough. Sorry, I've said this about Harry Kane as well. And I don't like that the new generation at Arsenal. My problem is I keep hearing from Arsenal fans, we want to get rid of the deadwood and we want to start a new generation. Right? That's what they're all saying. Okay, this is your leader. This is who Bukayo Saka will see now. Just telling you. He's setting the tone. Jesse says, I'd sell him too. Arsenal has a few good young talent. Do you think Saka is too young to build a team around? I don't. No. I would say that is the model Arsenal player. By the way, I think Bukayo Saka is one of the top 5 youngsters in world football. I feel nothing in saying that. You know what? Maybe tomorrow I'll do my list of, or maybe on Friday I'll do a top 5 list of my current youngsters of football. I think Bukayo Saka, I think the most exciting young talent in the league, though, isn't Bukayo Saka. There's Pedro Neto at Wolves. For those of you who haven't watched Wolves, look out for that young guy. He's 20 years old. He's a different level. He's got that mentality. I think Saka could get a bit nastier. But you can't coach that. He looks like such a nice kid. But again, nothing off the field. Everything I'm reading about him, character, the talent and the character, that's very, very rare. I love Bukayo Saka and the talent. What I like, and I always say this is important, right? If you're going to be in the first team early, you've got to be uniquely mature. He's unique. That's unique maturity. Forget his game is mature. His first touch, his decision-making, that isn't like a 19-year-old. And I mean, part Nigerian, so he's got that body that can handle that, right? I love Bukayo Saka. I'd build around him. I'd build around him and say, over the next 4 or 5 years, that's what Arsenal's going to look like. Strong, dynamic, down to earth, and then he's special talent. Right? Talent needs a system to win. I don't care where you go, folks. How long did the Los Galacticos fail? By the way, a lot of people don't realize that Zinedine Zidane and that great era only won 1 league title. It was chaos. It was just chaos. They were boozing all the time. It was a mess. Remember that? Los Galacticos project? 1 league title. Because chaos cannot win without system over talent. And Bukayo Saka, you make him the face of Arsenal, you move on. Don't make him the captain. I don't know. Somebody at the back, take the captaincy and build around him. No, he's not too young. I would most definitely build around him. And he's a high character guy from everything I read. Jesse Randolph, this is sad. For me, Ashley Cole hurt the most. Yeah, you know what the problem is? He's the best English wing-back of all time. He leaves and goes on to join a dynasty with a guy, Jose Mourinho, who makes a mockery of your club. That is the one that hurts. Because Ashley Cole is Arsenal. He's everything Arsenal. He's Arsenal. You can't even say it just Arsenal. He's everything Arsenal. and he left. And he was right. The worst part, hey, in any divorce, isn't this the worst part? Right? Is somebody leaves you and you go talk bad about them because you remember how everyone cashly cold, blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing worse than losing a breakup, folks. And your partner was right to leave you. So she leaves you and she says, you booze too much, blah, 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 this and that. You're like, she's just a crazy wench. 3 months later, you lose your job and your car's repossessed. She was right. You should have grown up, pitched to work on Monday without booze on your breath. That's what I feel like. That's what happened with Arsenal, right? Ashley Cole won that divorce in a big way, and that hurts. There is nothing that hurts people more. Like if I saw my ex with like Idris Elba on a yacht, it'd kill me. People won't tell you that, but it kills you. In a breakup, you never want to see your ex do better than you. I don't care how mature you think you are, folks. It must kill Arsenal fans. That is the one that hurts, Jesse. And hey, the one thing I know in thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers, and that'll make it better. That's what I've learned. That's according to Twitter, the internet. And the internet's never lied to me. All right, take one more comment. Rikus Swart says, I will take a 39-year-old Ibra over Aubameyang any day. Hype versus actual results. So, well, I hate to pile on, but Aubameyang worries me for a lot of reasons. And the tattoo in lockdown on top of the other stuff I've seen. All right, let's finish off on this. SA Rugby, big moment. I said it last week. Had it pretty well sourced. I know the people or the person, she went to school actually with someone very close to me who is ratifying the deal. It is almost signed, sealed, delivered. It's clear now. Sia has left Province and he will join the Sharks. It's not official, but it's official. You know how things have to be official. And a lot of people are saying, what's he doing? Cape Town, it's the hub of South Africa. If you're not in Joburg, listen, I think the Sharks are going in the right direction. If you know my thoughts on rugby, I think it's still in the dark ages, but the American money is a great thing. But here's why I think it's not just good for Sia. And I'd imagine thinking of investment firms, they don't think small, they think big, they think long term. Sia Kolisi right now is the face of world rugby. Think of the context, young, black captain, South Africa. It's basically the second coming of Jesus Christ, right? Basically, listen, I'm not religious. If I'm stepping on your toes there, forgive me. It's hyperbole. I'm not literally saying Sia Kolisi is Jesus Christ. That's ridiculous. He's not. He's Sia Kolisi. But you get the analogy. Ride the train while it's hot. Because rugby's amateur and the Americans can see this now. And his story sold. And what happened? Rock Nation came along. And what happened? The Fenway Sports Group came along. We saw a game of rugby to the world. If you're Western Province, shut the hell up. No one cares. You're running it like a Stockveld down there. Nobody cares. We've moved on. Nobody cares. Remember there was that great time when you had Dwayne Vermeulen, basically the Springboks were Western Province for that 2017. It was Springboks and the Bulls, right? Bulls, Stormers, and basically everyone else had one or two. But the Bulls and the Stormers were the Springbok team 07. Remember that time? Habana, Fourie, Jean de Villiers, Skalkberger, who's the big number 8 who's at the Bulls now, Dwayne Vermeulen. They had everything. It's dead now. Sia Kolisi is terrific. Listen, love him or hate him, I think it's very clear. He's John Smith, right? Sia's not the best flank in this country. But he's the best leader. He understands the context. I think Rassi was brilliant at understanding what Sia represents. Folks, let's lean into it as rugby. Let the guy go and sell it to the Americans. We sell the story from poverty, the American dream. He's everything that rugby should be, everything that sports should be, aspirational. I love the story with Sia Kolisi. I've never thought he was the best player. But listen, I've just spoken to you about bad character. Tell you what, I'll take Sia Kolisi over lots of rugby players. I'll take him over lots of rugby players. Because people, whatever it is about Sia, very few people have this. Elon Musk, guy called Jesus Christ a couple of years ago. Don't mean to step on your toes. But some people are electric. They get people to gather around them and they will follow them over a cliff. Sia Kolisi seems to have that. Never heard a bad word about him coming out of the Springbok camp. Everybody followed him. And that's a team of strong leaders. It's a Beth, right? That bunch of strong leaders in that dressing room. But they said, you are our captain. Let's ride it home. SA Rugby should milk us. But World Rugby should milk it even more. He's the global face of rugby, folks. Let's enjoy this. Let's do the right thing. And as South Africans, I don't mind saying this, we failed. We failed. It's been corrupt and it's been run like, a mom and pop shop. Give the Americans a go. Let's professionalize this thing. And in the most brutal sport in the world, there's UFC and there's rugby. Those are the true warrior sports. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm a football guy. I love football. But nothing's more brutal than rugby and UFC. Pay these guys. The Americans will pay them, and let's turn it into an extravaganza and actually enjoy this thing. So good for SA Rugby, number one. Good for global rugby. But in the broader sense, great for Siya Kolisi. On the opposite of Aubameyang, Siya Kolisi's career has been a series of great decisions. All right? Province, injuries, no problem. I settle down. I knuckle down. Right? Wife, family, he positions himself there. He's made great decisions his whole career. Why doubt him now? He's not the best player. Like, let's get it out there. I don't know Siya Kolisi, so I can say this. He's not the best player. Like, let's be honest. But he's the best player for the task. People gather around him and he galvanizes a squad. And I believe he could galvanize World Rugby to another tier if he's given the chance to be the face of rugby and we take this thing into a different stratosphere. So shout out to the Sharks. Shout out to World Rugby for embracing this. And at last, shout out to Province for letting him go. All right. Let's see. Rika says, apparently Viapia is looking for the services of Lima Sapuwanga. This probably means Willemse to go to the Bulls. Saw that Sapuwanga thing. I'm not sure how that helps SA Rugby. And he's not it. You know what I never like? I've got a policy, right? In dating, I have a policy in dating. If I've asked, and this has happened before, by the way, I don't know why I'm telling you. If I've asked you out before and you made a decision to go with another guy, you're dead to me, right? I will never ask you out again because I don't like to be option B. Doesn't it feel like Sapuwanga is option B? If we were getting Aaron Cruden or, someone like that, yeah, like Milner Scudder, although he's not a fly half, but just there's that tier. I think Sapuwanga's failed now in New Zealand rugby. I kind of feel like, he's not the A grade, right? He's not first pick. Everybody I want first pick. I never like to be option B, and I never like to pick option B. I want what I want. Sapuwanga doesn't feel like it. I don't know how much of an upgrade he is on Willemse. And I think Willemse hasn't had his chance at fly half, by the way. But question for another day. Siya Kolisi sounds like Henderson. Wow, that's harsh. That's harsh. I would never say he's Henderson. I think Henderson went on a very lucky ride. But okay, Rika says, just like Francois Pienaar and John Smith, they were also not the best, but they were the best leaders. Folks, I'll finish off on this. Again, you'll always hear me. I've always said, I'm a mommy's boy. I always take my advice and the teachings of my mother when I was younger. So my mom, as I go into adulthood now, she's been consistent. Don't chase money. Chase leadership. It's rare. Money's everywhere. If you're good, you'll find money. Don't worry about it. What you won't find is leadership. Because if you find leadership, great leaders are doing great work. And when you get near them, when you find that, it is so unique, it's below 1%. When you find great leadership, they're around great work. Follow them. And where there's great work, there's what? Big money. Right? There's big contact. There's big contact. And leadership's so rare. And great leadership is even more rare. Francois Pienaar, in that time period in South Africa, love him or hate him. Folks, love him or hate him. I don't care if you like Francois Pienaar. By the way, Golden Lions captain, won the first Super Rugby tournament, was the first World Player of the Year. No big deal. I'm a Lions fan. Golden Lions, Joburg through and through. Just saying. John Smith, another guy. Listen, we all know Bismarck was the best hooker in the World Rugby for 5 years. But John Smith, he could listen. There's very few people in the world who can get around alpha males, and I know because I've been in those dressing rooms. There's very few people who can get alpha males to leave their egos at home. Remember, you never get an alpha male or female to check their ego at the door. You know why? Because they might say, hey, you know what? I left my ego at the door. Let me go get it. Is leave your ego at home. Very few men and women can get alphas to leave their egos at home and say, it's not about me. Francois Pienaar, Roy Keane, right? John Smith, Steve Waugh. These are all very rare human beings. Very, very rare. And when you have them, you got to ride that boat, boy. So I totally agree there. Rika Swart saying, just like Francois Pienaar and John Smith, they were also not the best in their position, but they were the best leaders. And I echo that sentiment very, very highly on Siya Kolisi and moving forward. All right. It's Champions League time. Folks, for tonight, I'm MKT. This is the MKT Show. Yes, a show named after me. By the way, you got to know what that does for my ego. Outrageous. Who is this guy? Names a show after himself. But hey, this is that show. And you've been with us tonight. You could have been anywhere with anybody. It's been awesome. MKT Inspires on all social media platforms. Cliff Central Sport on all social media platforms. Otherwise, we'll catch you tomorrow. Cliff C Sport on the Tweet Monster. For today, MKT, Cliff Central Sport, MKT Show. I'm MKT. That's Gareth Cliff, by the way. He's physical distancing from me. It has been a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. But for now, we are the hell out of here.